My name is Tokala Tatum. I'm from the Yakima tribe from Yakima, Washington, and the Rosebud Sioux tribe from Rosebud, South Dakota. And I'm the director and writer of They're Not Here. And my relationship to Seattle from the Yakima tribe, so I got a relationship to the whole state. So that's where my family's from, where my people's from. So I think that's pretty self-explanatory.
I'd love to hear about the writing process for your films, and I know for documentaries there's some writing that goes in, there's a lot of shaping, that kind of a thing.
For They're Not Here, with it being a proof of concept, something I got envision a larger feature in mind down the line once I'm ready. And in terms of the writing process for this proof of concept, the short film, with this being a genre film, being a horror film, when I was doing research on proof of concepts, I saw two common ways that you could do it. It was either condense your whole feature into one small short, where you have the beginning, middle, and end, and you say your whole message in that short 10 minutes or so. And then I saw another way to do a proof of concept was just throw your audience into a moment. And I think for a horror film and for a genre film, I think that's what worked best. It's just no context given. Let me just throw you into the moment and just let you feel whatever you feel from it. And I think that's where the structure of the writing really shines for They're Not Here.
I'd like to speak a little bit about pre-production. You just mentioned it, but I'd like to hear from the other films what went into that, and also what's your shooting schedule, shooting days?
For They're Not Here, it was a 2-day shoot just over the weekend, shot on $3,000. And I think the biggest thing is that for me, it's really important to get authentic locations and just authenticity through everything. And so I think that's the biggest struggle in terms of my pre-production process is I'm really going out to like the reservations I grew up on, the reservations that are local around here, and trying to connect with people about making a movie, and usually they just look at me weird, close the door, and so that's the toughest part. And then when I do get someone to say yes, I just try to prepare as much as I can, and especially with the horror genre, it really felt like I was mapping it out almost, trying to because horror is so like location focused, of like they go from here to here, they're over the roof, blah blah blah, that stuff. And so that was my biggest preparation in terms of that. And I think that's just the toughest part for me in terms of pre-production, is that when the culture of filmmaking isn't in the community, it's kind of hard to get a film off the ground when people just aren't aware of what that process is like at all. You know, when people don't know what it's like to make a movie, they just expect it to just turn on the camera, film for a couple hours, turn off, and then watch the movie next week. And you kind of got to explain to them like we're going to be here for like 15 hours a day, early in the morning, late at night. and yeah, I think that's the biggest thing, the pre-production, production, all that stuff.
Like the design or like imagery of the sort of like creature in your horror short. Curious how you went about the design for it. What was sort of the inspiration for it?
They had a really cool slide up here. I don't know if people got to see it because the PowerPoint turned off and everyone sat down, but the slide said that every aspect of this film has to do with Native American culture, and so the monster has to do with Native American culture as well. But the monster specifically is fully tied to it. A lot of research goes into how it acts and what it does. It's a lot of stories from people on the reservation that have heard about it. So it goes a lot deeper than you might think. And in terms of actually getting it down, since this was so low budget, we just had a fur costume over my back. I had these glasses on, and we had some like orange Halloween lights that just went through the back. Taped them over my glasses. That was pretty much it. That's how we got the job done.
I actually kind of want to poke you a little bit on that, because I'd love to hear more about the research process and what went into that, what kind of things you were looking for. Was there anything that, like, were there other directions that you went in the first place, and then you veered back to this?
Yeah, I think in terms of the research process, since I've been working on this is a film I've been working on for like two and a half years. In the feature version, this is the condensed, obviously, but in terms of the research for the monster, it really comes down to the authenticity again. I think that's really what I can wrap up about this whole film. Is just when I'm doing research, I'm trying to figure out where does this actually come from, because a lot of these folklores are from specific regions, specific reservations, specific tribes, and so it's really about me going to those communities and learning what they have to say, and learning just the stories they have. I might hear like a specific story that they have about something that they experienced it, and then I'll take that and sit on it and try to figure out how I can incorporate that into the bigger message. And with that being said, after I take that local research, I really try to figure out how I can fit the monster into it. And I know that's proof of concept. It's just throwing you into it with no context, but going on a little bit of a deeper scale. The monster really, it tries to encapsulate this feeling of how oppressive this environment can feel. It's like you're watching these boys deal with this drama, and then this monster comes in and just piles more problems, more stress onto the situation, because that's how it felt in real life. And for me, genre films are always trying to figure out how can I make people feel what I felt, and that's what it really felt like at times. It felt like there was some monster coming out of nowhere, just creating problems on top of the problems we already had to deal with. And so that's how I take that research of the monster and kind of incorporate it to the story and message I'm trying to tell.
This is not an intelligent question by any means, but I do want to hear y'all just gush a little about your work. What is a moment in each of your films that you're just like, fucking nailed that? I love that bit, you know?
Oh yeah. I think for me is I knew when I was making this film, since it's so isolated with Native culture, and I feel like a lot of Native stuff in the past is always connected to like the outside world, I guess. This is a film where it's really just us going through our own life, but bringing it to screen, and it's really just that moment. And I think something that sticks with me is I knew that when I was making this film, a lot of people might question how horrible of an environment that it could be. That kids are living through this. Maybe it might look a little abusive at times, and I think that the thing I really like about this film is that it was never meant to be these people are bad and these people are good. It was meant to be this is what an environment can do to people, and even though you don't have any context to that, you can feel it. And the one thing that I really like about the film is when the dad walks in the house and he sits down, he kind of yells at the kids. And then he sits there, and you see something going on, like emotion-wise, inside of him that's like coming out of him. It's almost like a bottle of liquid that's just overflowing, and it's pouring out like onto these kids. And it's not this. It's like this unintentional passing down of pain. That's what it is, and I really like how we captured that moment.
Not to get capital A art on you all, but I'm very curious about your why for making what you've made. You invested a lot of time and money into it, so why did you decide to tell the story that you told? Why did you feel the need to put all of your everything into it?
Yeah, it's a tough question. For this film, I think I would really describe myself as a genre filmmaker. It's really it's something where I could find a vessel to be able to tell an emotion or a moment that I lived, and I could put it through this genre and then make other people hopefully feel it how I felt it. And so that's really why I go into genre, and I think my reason why is just. Filmmaking isn't something that I ever really went after. It just wasn't something that was a thing. You didn't know people who were filmmakers or even had a camera, photographers, nothing. But filmmaking kind of found me at a young age when I was like 18, and I just latched onto it. And I think the best way I'll describe it is like living in those type of environments. It felt like I was just buried under so much stuff, just buried. And then when I found filmmaking, it's almost like it broke me out of those rocks that were all under me, and it kind of allowed me to breathe and kind of put these stories and just be able to express myself, and not only myself but other people that grew up how I did, this part of the world that we don't get to see too often. And so it's really just a form of like life for me, I guess, just being able to breathe, really, that's what it feels like, and I think that's my why in this film and just in every film I do.
What are you guys working on now?
What I'm working on next, They're Not Here, is taking up all my time as a filmmaker. I really believe in this project. I hope you can hear that from my voice and the words I speak about it. And it's something that I'm doing a lot of major rewrites on the feature right now. I think that cultural horror is something that has a lot of potential, and I don't think it's tapped into it much at all. I'll be enough speaking about Jordan Peele, who I actually applied They're Not Here in the no drama program as well. It's funny enough, but speaking about cultural horror and someone like Jordan Peele, I think those type of stories in the horror genre aren't tapped into enough, and I think there's a lot of potential there. And I think They're Not Here's got that voice to be able to shine within that as I start working myself towards bigger budgets and getting those resources. So They're Not Here's my passion project right now.
All right. Well, thank you so much for screening with us. Yeah.